Making your way through work Monday takes everything you got. Then Monday night rolls around and you realize there's a shot. You're only 10 points away. All those times when your team had no fight, they're just so gosh darn frail. Then your star quarterback let another deep ball sail, and your third round pick bet on his team. Then go check out our streets where everybody knows your pain, and they listen to complaints. You wanna be where you can see our bodies bring you no shame. You wanna go where everybody knows your pain.
Welcome back to the fantasy. No, Brian, I almost butchered it. You know what I almost did?
That's embarrassing.
You know what I almost did right there?
And he's here.
Up.
I know what you almost did.
Yeah, I almost threw the fantasy bye week. The dead brand.
The dead brand.
The dad bod fantasy squad. In actuality, is what's
so. You'll notice that Mario tried to just slither his way in here.
He looks disheveled to me. What about you, B?
Well, yeah, of course. He's sleeping all the time because he doesn't have children, Cody. So he just can sleep whenever he wants.
I wish I could sleep whenever I wanted. I didn't want to tell you in text, but I had to take a quick shower, man.
Okay.
Get out of that groggy phase.
Wait, so you took a nap and you showered?
Within the last 10 minutes, you woke me up. And then I had to hop in the shower.
Okay,
Dude.
When you say, though, you can't just nap whenever you want to nap, tell me where you worked from today.
At my office.
Okay.
So where's that?
in the spare bedroom.
Yeah, from home.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yes.
So no nap. You don't strike me as a nap worker anyways. I just thought maybe I'd try.
Yeah, so when I have had a weird day. Jess is gone. She went to a conference. And then so like I've just been here and I have been tired all day and I have no clue why.
It's funny you say that because when Brian said he texted and he said, "You don't think he's sleeping, do you?" And I thought to myself, like, oh, Jess would wake him up. She knows he records like every night of the week.
She wouldn't even wake me up even if she was here. She wouldn't even wake me up.
I got a quick question for you guys. So I was actually just talking to Felix today about he was talking about how he worked like a 12-hour shift. And I was saying, he said he hated every minute. I said, well, if you enjoyed it, it wouldn't be work. So then I started thinking about, how my whole school gets in on like the Mega Millions whenever it gets really high, and how probably like the entire school would like retire all at once and leave them in total chaos. And
I'm
so
listening, so I got to get.
So I stumbled upon this this story just in the last like 10 minutes. Commander's 50-50 raffle winner says the team's check bounced when he tried to cash it.
How is that possible?
He tried to cash a $14,000 check.
And it bounced?
Would you believe this story from any other team? Besides the Commanders, would you believe it?
No, but where I still struggle is that's like 18 seconds of Carson Wentz's salary. How does Carson Wentz's checks cash?
That's a great question. Maybe they come from. Maybe this was from Dan Schneider's personal account.
Account. Yeah, that might make sense.
I was watching a Pat McAfee show today, and that owners meeting is getting heated. He said,
"Yeah, Jerry Jones isn't having it."
Snyder's trying to turn everybody against ESPN for some reason, which I don't really.
It's ESPN reported recently that he was going to. He hired a private investigators, and he's got dirt on all of the owners. And I don't think that sat right with Jim Irsay. He said, "Fine, Everybody knows my past, man. Or
Air it
as
out.
Pat McAfee would say, yeah, everyone knows my past, brother. I guess that's how he talks. I really haven't heard much of Jim Irsay.
Yeah, Jim Irsay's a weirdo.
He's a pretty active owner as well. Like he's kind of like the quietest active owner out of like Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
Even Dan Schneider is always saying something stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Jim Irsay is like on this train of like we're getting votes to get him out of here. We're gonna force him to sell the team.
Good. They should have done it a long time ago.
Yeah.
And in fact, everybody expected it to happen, like last year when all those emails and all the John Gruden stuff leaked. And it just, I am probably in not a very small camp of thinking that all NFL owners are just like complete garbage human beings. And they show it all the time.
Brian's so righteous.
I am.
If
That's
he was
because
the owner,
I'm
though, he'd be
perfect.
like, "Yeah, I'm in the club."
Yeah, I'd be like
We're the
50
best.
strippers, after every win, drugs. Let's hide our steroids as
Drugs,
best
huh?
we can.
What's
Just all the good stuff that I love.
All right, so let's actually get into the show after that one. We got some injuries to talk about today, some updates, some concerns. For this episode, as we formatted the new weekly schedule, today we wanted to do a different segment, which is kind of like a player spotlight. So we're going to talk about a couple guys a little bit more in depth because we're kind of trying to pick up the speed when we talk about every team weekly. So this will allow us to kind of go deeper on first off the injuries, and then also a couple guys that we wanted to talk a little bit more about. You guys ready?
For sure. I like it. Not so forceful and like, oh, we got to talk about every game. Just hit on the stuff that we really think needs to be talked about.
Yeah. Last night was our first dynasty talk since before the season, and it was so fun. It was a lot of fun having that conversation. But if we get into it, we're going to talk about Thursday night preview too. Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
Injury updates.
Yep.
Hollywood Brown out at least a month. It said 4 to 6 weeks. I saw there was a chip in his foot. Like the bone was chipped in his foot, which makes me real nervous moving forward. I mean, in general, but 4 to 6 weeks is the time frame we're given. How does that affect the guys on this team?
Well, I think we don't know who it is because the issue is you've got a lot of slot receivers in that team, and then the addition of Robbie Anderson, which I don't think a whole lot of. I guess I just don't know what the outside's going to look like. I mean, it's really a wait and see on the outside.
It looks like DeAndre Hopkins and Rondale Moore.
You think? Yeah.
That's it.
You ready for a Rondale season is what you're saying.
I think he's talented.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ryan's
one last thing on that injury. This is going to sound crazy, but I feel like it plays out this way a lot, and there's no medical science in what I'm saying. Sometimes when I see non-surgical, I actually get discouraged.
Because
I feel like
not as quick. You never know. It's a lot more like
I just feel like it goes
strict timeline.
awry more often. I feel like when stuff gets
disagree.
fixed, it's good. Like it's kind of like that thing with like they say a really bad sprained ankle is far worse than a broken ankle.
Yeah.
Like that kind of deal. It's that kind of thing to me where like I almost just like get in there and fix it and then tell me how long till he's good. Don't be like, oh, it's probably going to heal like that. It doesn't feel as good.
Since this is one of the, I'm going to put you on the spot. So either of you, since this is one of the bigger names and one of the further time frames that we're going to be talking about today, give me, say you have Hollywood in Dynasty and you are a contending team for sure, trying to play to win this year. Or maybe you're like in the cusp, right? You need to get a couple more wins to get it, to make sure you lock in some playoffs. Who would you offer Hollywood Brown for in Dynasty?
Keenan Allen.
Well, you'd go for Keenan Allen?
Yes.
I don't think that's a bad trade offer.
I don't think it's bad either.
Like typically, if somebody has Keenan, they see 31 or 30, and they're like, "Yeah, I'll
The
do
Keenan
this."
owner's making that trade, I think.
If they're 2-4, yeah.
Yeah.
That's I was actually kind of just looking at something like this yesterday, and it was players to target with your second round picks. And Keenan Allen was by far the most suggested person that people should be chasing after right now if they are trying to contend, just because he's been out for so long. And I mean, that's still kind of a risk because his hammy, I mean,
Yeah, talk about him because he's on our list here too.
yeah, so he still has his hammy injury. You know, I think it was Mario has on here that he's on pace to return to full practices before Sunday, but I feel like we've been seeing this exact same headline for 3 weeks now.
And they go
It
on
was-
bye after this week.
Yeah,
And
it was
they go on
me and it
buyout.
was coach saying that. So, classic coach speak.
Yeah, so I mean, I would expect him back probably after the bye. I would expect them to hold him out, but like if you're trying to contend and you need something to push for this year, and you're looking to ship Hollywood Brown, I'd probably go after Keenan. I might try and get a little something extra also, because
Or something that, keep going. I'm sorry.
yeah, like Marquise Brown, he's 25, especially in Dynasty. Keenan Allen's 30. I think he's turning 31 sometime in the next 6 months.
Yeah.
You're really not going to hold on. Like this is probably Keenan Allen's either this or next year is going to be like his last relevant year, in my opinion.
If this is the year, I mean, the dude hasn't shown anything yet.
He was fine in the games he played.
Which
Which was like
games did he play? Two?
2, I think.
Okay.
Like
Was
2.
it 2? I thought it was 1.
It
Yeah.
might be 1.5.
Do you target an underperformer? And this might be a bad example because I don't necessarily have like the crazy most positive outlook on this player, but like is Terry McLaurin a possibility?
No,
No? Okay.
not for me.
Oh, yeah,
It's an
I think that's-
underperformer where you couldn't have
is.
made that trade at the start of the season. Well, maybe you could have. Probably a close trade at the beginning of the season.
That's so tough because like even Keenan's a little bit tough because you're like, I need to get wins right now. So here's Hollywood. Let me get something that can help me get wins right now. And currently Keenan's not in. We do expect him back in a week, 2 weeks. Technically, it would be the 3rd week from now. Makes it a little bit tougher.
Let's talk his team. Would you D-hop it?
Would you trade Hollywood for D-Hop?
Yeah.
I would.
If you're competing.
If I'm competing, I absolutely would.
That's really
I would
tough,
too.
only because I think
he struggled
Hopkins,
last year a little
I
bit.
think Hopkins is just going to have a couple weeks that he's. I mean, I guess it's the exact same as Keenan. Like
Keenan,
next
it is
week or
similar,
two
yeah.
is probably going to be kind of ugly.
The only positive being, you get a nice run here.
The only thing is,
competition
I'm only
target.
making that trade if I know I'm competing for the championship.
Yeah.
Because like my team currently, I'm like 8-4. My team's pretty ugly. Like DeAndre Hopkins isn't going to do anything for me.
Yeah.
Like he might give me another win or two, but like I'm not winning at all.
To go into Hopkins, 83. All right, I'm going to run through these real quick. Last year, 6 for 83, 2 touchdowns, 4 for 54, 1 touchdown, 3 for 21, 4 for 67, 6 for 87, 1 touchdown, 3 for 55, 2 touchdowns, 7 for 53, 1 touchdown, 2 for 66, 2 for 32 and 1 touchdown, 5 and 54. Like, he's slowing down. Didn't even crack 100, didn't even crack 90 yards. Touchdown machine, which is good. It's a lot to rely
The
on.
touchdown machine is like I tried to think through the fantasy points you read there, and I think the fantasy points are really good. The question is, are those touchdowns repeatable? That's really what it
So
comes down
one
to.
more guy I want to ask you guys about. Would you trade Hollywood Brown for Alan Lazard?
Yes.
I love Alan Lazard, and he's been great. I would think I could get more in Alan Lazard. So
I think you could
yes,
too. I think
but
that's a good
I would
point.
get more.
I think that's a good point. Would do it, but I think you feel okay with that trade and know I can get a sweetener.
Like Brian gave me Alan Lazard and Jeff Wilson. I think you could get both of those for Hollywood Brown if you just obviously Jeff Wilson's not a long-term play.
Yeah.
Let's
Let's say, Alan Lazard and a Darrell Henderson. That's probably another one that might be a possibility.
that's a good one.
It's a this year Band-Aid. It's not a long-term fix, but it's a this year Band-Aid.
James Conner was listed. Oh, he didn't practice today.
They're still
listed
listing him
as
as questionable. Yep.
Um,
Feels sketchy. Feels really sketchy.
Yeah, I mean it's tomorrow. Rib issue.
Yep.
I mean we don't have much else other than just keep an eye on it, right? I mean,
yeah, his projections on apps have been dropping, so I think that's the way we're trending.
Does Eno become a play for you or no? Not after last week's performance.
Probably is. I hate to say.
He got a lot of work.
Yeah, he did. It probably is. Yeah.
Probably 12 teams or more. 10 team, you're not starting him.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Rashad Bateman returns to practice today. He tweeted LOL when they signed Deshaun Jackson. What does that do? Is Duvernay droppable? Is this good for Duvernay that they're all kind of? We got Jackson. We got Rashad returning. What?
I don't think Deshaun changes
for
anything.
Lamar.
I don't think it changes anything.
I don't think Deshaun changes anything either. And also, Rashad Bateman has just been.
I have no Deshaun looks pretty washed the last time we saw him. So
yeah,
I think this is good news for Lamar, if anything.
I really don't want anything to do with anyone outside of Mark Andrews on this team. People are still so hyped on Rashad Bateman, and I just still don't really get it.
Dang, he's coming for your throat, Cody.
Yeah, I think he was fine. Obviously, he's been hurt for a while, so we don't have much of a sample size. So
well, the value I'm seeing in Dynasty Superflex is 2 firsts, and I'm that's
no
insane.
Way. Yeah, I agree.
That doesn't make any sense.
I've offered that before. I'm glad that KTC still does that. That's good. J.K. Dobbins. I read earlier that it was a lot to do with the turf. The turf was real tough.
So what? Every time he plays on turf, he's just gonna sit the game. I'm out
every week.
I'm out this year on Dobbins.
I don't disagree.
I don't disagree either.
Real nervous,
but I don't want anything else either.
If
Gus Edwards is going to be back,
I don't want Gus Edwards either.
I don't want any of it.
I'm
which
starting
is crazy
Gus
that we don't
Edwards
want
if he plays this week.
Brian has this weird belief that Gus Edwards could be good. It's locked somewhere.
They love Gus Edwards, and I think he's averaged something stupid 6 yards per carry for his career.
Okay,
it might be
not Aaron Jones.
5 and change. Edwards. Let me look it up for you then.
I'm going to say 5.2. That's my guess.
5.2.
Which is a great number.
It is 5.
Was it actually?
It is actually 5.
That's a great number
for his career. They love him. I just think he'll get some kind of carries. He's not going to – they're not going to give him the reins or anything like that. That would be ridiculous.
Yep.
But I think he might have enough to be I'm even hesitant to say Kareem Hunt, except Kareem Hunt's been pretty bad this year.
He actually has kind of struggled this year.
But he could get that same kind of usage, same amount of touches, I think.
Jamar Chase limited Wednesday. T. Higgins limited Wednesday. Chase is dealing with a hip injury. T is dealing with an ankle injury. I think both of them play. I think T is the one to be more concerned with here. He got 10 targets last week. Just didn't kind of have his performing game. He's been dealing with this ankle injury for about 2 weeks now.
T has been getting demolished this year.
T?
Yeah. Physically, yeah.
I know. He should have had 2 concussions.
I think he did have 2 concussions, whether they admit it or not.
Russell Wilson day-to-day with hamstring. I see the note here, trying new treatment. Is that getting Wolverine blood?
That is. He's
what is the new treatment?
Wolverine blood, man. He said he heals quick. He's got Wolverine blood. I mean, is he talking about he took some of Tom Brady's blood because Tom Brady's a Michigan Wolverine? Is he talking about X-Men Wolverine? Is he talking
Definitely
about
X-Men
the animal?
Wolverine.
I don't know. It's Russell Wilson. You really don't know. He might have never seen X-Men.
The options are unlimited.
They really are.
Unlimited.
All right, let's ride to the next one.
Thanks.
DeAndre Swift is limited with his ankle and shoulder. I actually expect him back this week. They've been targeting this week.
Coming off a bye.
If he's not, you're plugging in Jamal, right?
Is DeAndre Swift the most overrated player ever?
He's good. He's just frail. Honestly, he's frail.
That's it. That's it.
Exactly. But
that's not overrated. That's just frail. It's a different combo.
But it kind of is because
Rashad Bateman would be overrated because we haven't actually seen much. DeAndre Swift goes into a game and he looks good.
Yeah, but like we talk about people.
That was another.
Who was it? That
He
we
just doesn't
talked
exit the game
about?
in the fourth quarter. Like he just
We
doesn't
just
exit at the
we
end.
just
He exit
talked
earlier.
about somebody. It wasn't like Saquon. It was somebody who's had like like an ACL tear and something else like catastrophic.
Oh, Trey Lance.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like I don't think Trey Lance is injury prone. I think those are like freak injuries.
I agree with
DeAndre Swift is injury prone. Like
I
there
also
is a
agree with that.
difference between
I
having
still
a
like
catastrophic
I
injury.
I agree, and I still like it. I go
Yeah.
back to what we talked about. We talked about this all offseason. Like I wanted to see 13 to 15 touches a game for DeAndre Swift. That's the type of NFL player he needs to be. He can help your team. It's the answer.
No, he is a stud when he plays.
Yep.
He is. He's really good.
The only
Jonathan,
thing, Cody,
hey-
is sorry. I mean,
He doesn't have much more than that. You're
18
gonna say.
touches, 10 touches, 11 touches, injured.
So
like-
even that's too much, I suppose.
Well, oh, that was including his receptions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
it did seem like he was limited, and I thought they were just going to unleash him later on, and then this happened. Jonathan Taylor limited practice on Wednesday with his ankle issue.
I think he's back.
I think he's back kind of too.
Yep.
I don't.
No?
Really?
You think he's out another?
I,
Deion Jackson's full practice. That's why you're probably like, "Man."
Yeah,
No, I mean, is it not a high ankle sprain? I just don't think high ankle sprains are ever just a 2-week thing.
I
always think they're 4 to 6. Like I
I know, but why didn't they put him on IR? That's like the weird part for me.
I don't know. Teams do it all the time.
And why would he practice? Like that would be the type of thing you don't practice until you're
Except
pretty
for
good.
that it was a limited practice. That could mean he
But why would
jogged
you
on
do
the
anything on a
sideline.
high? Why would you do anything on an ankle sprain
I don't
if you're not
know.
close? You know what I
Jim
mean?
Irsay is the owner. I honestly don't know.
Reasons.
I mean, he could play. He could not. Obviously, just monitor it. If he plays, you're playing him.
If he doesn't, are you plugging Deion Jackson in? Even with
Yes, no doubt.
Hines is going to be playing.
Yes, I think no doubt. I think Deion
Mhm.
Jackson is that between the tackles guy. I think the only reason he got all those receptions last week was because Hines was out as well.
So you want Deion Jones Jackson as the
The
between the
handcuff.
tackle
The
guy?
handcuff.
Yeah.
I think so.
I don't think
He looks
I don't think
good.
If okay, so I don't know what his role is with Hines in there, but if he's just between the tackles, I'm cool. I don't want it. I don't want to start it at least.
It also depends. Here's a big factor. Has this offense turned a corner? That's a massive difference. Like the way this
They
offense
looked
has
good
looked-
this week.
Yeah, like Jonathan Taylor's going to finally eat if this is how this offense looks when he
Yeah.
gets back.
So Deion Jackson, he's 6 foot, 220. He's a bigger guy. 13 carries, 62 yards, 12 carries, 42 yards, right around 4 yards a carry. Last week,
You need a
obviously, was kind of
touchdown.
carried by the 10 receptions
Yeah,
for 79 yards.
If Hines is back, you need a touchdown. He's not going to get enough yards to be a good fantasy without a TD.
I still think he'll get a couple catches, though. I don't think it's going to be like they're not only going to throw to Hines. Like Jonathan Taylor got a couple catches every game. I don't know. I think he's worth a play.
All right. Darren Waller did not practice Wednesday with hamstring. It would appear if he doesn't log a limited or full practice Thursday, Friday, he's going to be out this week
on Thursday.
again.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him out this week.
And so one guy that I just talked to Mario about the other day was Foster Moreau, the backup. We saw last year that Foster Moreau,
Did he practice today?
I think he was limited. He has a knee injury.
That's fine.
Double check that for me. But last year we saw, last year when Darren Waller was out, Foster Moreau really kind of turned up and basically filled that role to perfection, put up the same kind of numbers. He's 25 years old, I believe.
Yeah,
I picked him up in Dynasty.
Practice Wednesday. It doesn't say limited or full on here.
Yeah. I'm
It was
hoping
Doesn't
hoping
say
for
probably.
something.
It's first time since injury, so it seems like he'll be in. I do kind of think he's a nice plug if you are desperate like Brian is in that league. We talked about Keenan Allen. Damian Harris is.
It's just
I am
mute.
so confused.
Yeah, it's
I'm
just
so
mute.
confused. What do you
Yeah.
mean by that?
Like there's just nothing.
Well, and like, additionally, they were like, yeah, Damian Harris is going to be out probably till after the bye. Is that still the case? Because they haven't necessarily said that wasn't, but then we see him limited practice every week.
I
feel like he was that like the first week back. It was all like, oh, he might play. It feels like it got worse. You know.
So you think like he's closer, and the initial reports are probably just off?
Maybe.
Is Ramondre's season going to come to an end?
No, I think
I don't-
Ramondre's earned his role. No, I think Damian Harris is still a thing. But I think Ramondre's earned extra touches. What do you guys think?
I think the initial reports about Damian Harris are to be believed, and everything else is just smokescreen. That being said, I'm never going to trust Ramondre getting all the work because it's the Patriots backfield still.
It won't
Ty
be all.
Montgomery is eligible to return from IR whenever. They just need to activate him. I just don't trust it yet. I mean, I think we might get 2 weeks of Ramondre season.
What? I mean, you would rather own Ramondre going forward, right?
I think
Of the two?
Damian's if you could get Damian for the real low, I think he gets traded.
I don't
in
think he will
season.
get traded. I think they'll
Why?
just let him go at the end of the year.
Why wouldn't they trade him?
I don't know. Trades just don't happen that often with running backs.
The Patriots do it all the time. He's at the end of his contract. They ain't gonna pay him. Get a pick. Get a fourth. Get a fifth. You see what Ramondre's doing.
Who's
got
in the
Ty
market
Montgomery-
for Damian Harris? Are the Rams going to trade for him?
Broncos?
I hope not.
Broncos.
I could. He could fall on a couple teams.
I mean, honestly, like I don't think Damian
Baltimore?
Harris is the worst football player. Like he would be the best running back on the Broncos if they traded for him.
They did get 2 picks for Sony Michel, and he looks terrible.
He is terrible.
Miami?
There's no looks about it.
No, he's on the Chargers.
Chargers would be a great spot for him to land.
Except for that, he would go there and he'd just be a backup.
For
and he's
how
too-
long though?
I think he's
how long
too
do we
good to be a
expect
backup.
Austin Eckler to be, doing his thing?
Workhorse. Yeah.
Well, they're already subbing him out a ton. It's just that the backups all suck. Like Sony Michel is a drive killer. Josh Kelly just got hurt. I think Justin Jackson's gone. Who's the other one? Oh, Isaiah
Justin
Spiller
Jackson
can't
is
even
gone.
see the field.
It's crazy. That part's crazy to me.
It is crazy to me because the other guys are so bad. It's like
Yeah.
it's like a curse in Los
That's-
Angeles.
Keontae Ingram is the other one that reminds me of, like, we're not gonna let this guy touch the ball at all, huh? That. So it's funny because we got like 3 rookies that are leading the charge in a lot of metrics for running backs, and then there's these other ones that can't even find the field. So it's like we were kind of wrong about the rookie running back class, and then we're really right about these other guys. It's funny.
Yeah, I think if you're not sniffing the field like Keontae Ingram or Isaiah Spiller, I think it's like your career's already pretty much set. You're a backup for your entire career.
I find that hard to believe, but I get what you're saying. Kyron Williams, another rookie, drafted round 5. He should start practice after bye.
Yep. So
I
their
think he's
bye
an
week is
interesting
this
stash.
week.
Yeah.
He
It's
is.
definitely stash.
The
Yeah.
only thing is that I was telling Cody before we started the show, he had a bad combine. He put up bad numbers and everything. He hasn't looked really great in training camp or practice or anything like that. So temper expectations. A lot of people online, on Reddit especially, are expecting him to just come in and steal the role from Daryl Henderson.
Everyone hates Daryl.
They
Yeah,
do.
I don't think it'll happen.
Everybody hates Daryl.
But it is a pretty good stash, especially in like dynasty or 14 plus team leagues.
Yeah.
I don't think 12 team you're holding him.
The Rams probably still make a move.
Yeah. I'd say that's the most likely scenario as well.
Yeah.
I'm having a tough time seeing how they can make a move for RB when they need so much offensive line help.
Because RBs are available and
cheap.
linemen
And
aren't.
cheap. Yeah.
That's probably true, but I think there are some linemen that are available.
Yeah, poopy ones.
You're gonna get CMC back there to just get destroyed. Maybe he
You know,
can
honestly,
help blocking.
I don't want it to happen, but Damian Harris is a perfect fit. He
He'd be
really
good.
is. He's
He'd
a
be good
perfect
there.
fit.
He would destroy there. All right. And Michael Thomas is ruled out already. So is Jarvis Landry. Is there anything that you guys want to add to that before we get to a player spotlight?
This is what taking 2 years off gets you. Welcome to the NFL, friend.
Welcome to good thing you're welcoming him too. You're like, yeah, come join me. I've been playing
Yeah.
every week. All right. So, Cody, we have our list here. We're obviously not going to get through this whole list. I want you to look at that list with all your might. Scroll through it and pick out the one that you want to talk about the most.
I think it's Alan Lazard.
Ooh,
It's for you, Mario.
Some Lazard.
I want you
talk?
to have some glory.
He's that good.
He's the TD machine. Can we talk about him and Robert Tonyan together? I think that's a good conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is really good. I can't wait to hear more about this.
Well, I mean, it's really just they've both come into their own, and Tonyan is more short term, so I don't want to like jump the gun on Tonyan. But I think I'm going to start Tonyan in a league this week. I've got some love. There was a lot of offseason hype for Tonyan. I know there was somebody within the Packers organization that said like Robert Tonyan's the guy that you guys should be paying attention to in the offseason. Slow start to the year, but has strung together. Yeah, has strung together. Obviously, last week was the targets and receptions is the big win, but he's really interesting to me. And Alan Lazard has just been a TD monster. I'm not even going to say it's a crazy number of catches. It's not a crazy amount of yards, but he's averaging almost 15 fantasy points a game. Yeah, and he's averaging almost 15 a game in PPR in the games he's played. He's been fabulous.
There's been so the things that I've liked out of Alan Lazard this season, and it was always there, right? Like he's made some really good catches. There is a diving catch specifically he made on the sideline that I don't want to say it's one of the best catches of the year. We saw some amazing catches already, but it would be top 15, top 20 maybe.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think Lazard is like he's like your definition of a veteran. Like I don't really know how to put it. I just feel like he is reliable, whereas the rookies are not so much.
Yeah, he's just to some degree he's just all they have that resembles an NFL receiver. And Romeo does. That's a little rough to Romeo, but like Alan Lazard looks the part, and to me he's the guy they have that does.
Yeah, the past 3 weeks, only 11 receivers have had at least 7 targets. Tyreek Hill, Debo, CeeDee Lamb, Marquise Brown, A.J. Brown, Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, DK Metcalf, DJ Moore, and Alan Lazard. So
DJ Moore's still getting that many targets.
I was going to say, the only surprising ones to me is Adam Thielen. And
yeah,
I mean, I'm not surprised DJ Moore has that many targets. It's probably not that many catches, but
no, it is not.
It's Baker throwing over his head.
Let me get you Lazard's fantasy points in PPR. So he's racked up
14.5 average.
Yeah, 14.5 average. He's had games. He had a 9.3, but it included a touchdown. And then otherwise, he's had 14.5, 18.6, 13.5, 17.6.
I think I also saw a tweet today that was
that's
in every game he's played, he's either had a touchdown or 100 yards receiving. You guys might have already.
Is it 100-yard receiving or 5 catches? Let me go.
100-yard receiving. I'm looking at the stats.
Okay.
It's funny because it's like he had 13 yards, 45,
no yards in TD. Yeah.
35, 76, and the one game that he had 116, which is the one where he made the diving catch, no TD.
Yeah. I brought him up. The one caveat I'll say, and I want your guys' thoughts on this. Does he feel like a perpetually hobbled player to you? I feel like every time he catches a ball, he comes up limping in some way. And I don't know why.
He does scare me on that. Like, I have that fear for a lot of people, but like we saw him miss a week already.
Yep.
He does. The 1 year, what is it, last year, Brian, he had an abdominal issue.
Yeah.
Not enough crunches.
I would not put him in the same tier as Mike Williams because Mike Williams is the king of that. Is every single catch Mike Williams has. Yeah. He's also got a potential season-ending injury.
It doesn't. I won't. I think it's fair to not put him in the same category, but it does feel similar.
They're big dudes. They come down maybe hard, man.
Less soft because Mike Williams has dealt with some hammy stuff, right? Or am I crazy?
He has.
Mike Williams has done with the array of everything outside of the big injuries.
I mean, Alan Lazard is just Mike Williams light, so it makes sense.
What do you guys think on Tonyan?
I'm excited for Tonyan.
Yeah,
Tonyan Funyan. Yep. Dude, so it was hard. Like, tight end's been rough. So you really, when you're picking your guys, right, you're starting them. I had Tunyon in a ton of leagues at the start of the year.
In a
but,
Tunyon of leagues?
A Tunyon of leagues. And I had to drop him in a couple, man. Like it has been a slow start. And the worst part is we expected a slower start from an ACL tear. Like I fully expected it. But again, desperation calls, and I had to drop him a couple.
Yep.
Did you guys did you
quick.
see the right before I believe it was before the season. No, it was actually like week 2. Aaron Jones actually took time out of his press conference and said, "You guys are sleeping on him."
That's who it was. Yeah. When I said that, it must have been Aaron Jones. I knew someone was like, that's who you should be paying attention to.
So then he's got to be like there. This might be something moving forward, like big time.
Here's his last 4 weeks. And keep in mind, I'm not going to blow you away with these numbers, but tight end landscape has been rough. Last 4 weeks, 9-7, 10-2, 6-3, 19.0. That's probably 12.5.
I could get you what that rates within the others. So hold on. I mean, if you want to keep going.
Yeah. So you're talking weeks 3 through 6. And maybe I shouldn't give him a pass, but you're coming off an ACL. So, I mean, I give him a bit of a pass those first couple weeks.
Wow, you're such a nice guy, dude.
I try. Robbie, I got you. I like my Robbies. I got lots of Robbies in my life.
You do.
If you were Robert Tonyan, wouldn't you go by Robbie Tonyan? Robbie Tonyan's a good name. Like, why would you go by Robert?
You know, his
Bobby
dad's
Tons.
name is also Robert Tonyan.
Tight end 8.
Tight end 8 last 4 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's within.
I actually thought it could almost be higher.
He's within 2 points of tight end 6.
Yep. He is a perfectly logical start in fantasy right now. I mean, I talked up Hayden Hurst, and I'd start Tonyan over him right now.
Well, like athleticism too. Robert Tonyan looks the part when he catches a ball, man. He's kind of fast, hard to get down.
He's not a bulky. I think he's like 240 or 245. He's not a giant tight end.
Yeah, he I don't want to call him elusive, but for a tight end, he's
for a Robert. For being a Robert, he's fairly elusive.
Yeah. Like, and I think that's what you're kind of, especially again, there's a lot of trial and error going on right now where if it's not Mark Andrews or Travis Kelce, you're really Zach Ertz, I would put there too. Maybe TJ Hawkinson. You're really trying to find a tight end for you instead of having to stream, or you stream, whatever. But if you're looking for the tight end and you're like, this might be my guy, this might be a top 5, my top 6. He has the chance to do that. Like he may be a big part of this offense going forward. This offense doesn't look good.
Nope.
So they're going to have to do some other things. Like,
and in general, like there's opportunity available. Sometimes that's the biggest thing we look for in tight ends.
Yeah, they're losing to the Jets. I mean, they come up against Washington. You want to say they should go up and win this game, but I don't know. I mean, Washington's not the Jets or the Giants, who they've lost the last 2. And maybe the Giants and the Jets are both way better than people are giving them.
Giants, I think that's true. I still can't get there on the Jets. I don't know why. The Jets are just supposed to suck.
You know, Cody.
Yeah?
I was waiting for what Mario was going to say.
Another Pat McAfee reference. He went on there and said, these aren't the same old Jets. All right, go ahead.
All right, so Cody brought up the Giants. I wanted to kind of move the conversation on to our next guy, who is, in my opinion, a very wonderful pickup. Anyway, that's Wan'Dale Robinson. I think this guy, I know me and Mario have some hype, and Mario just traded for him in one of our leagues.
Yeah, he's fun, though.
He is fun. And so you got literally everything that you could want from somebody. I think this is, if he's sitting on your waiver wire, I think you need to go pick him up right now. So he played only 14 snaps this past week. He had 4 targets, 3 catches. I think it was 47 yards, something like
37.
that. 37 and a touchdown. Yep. And he clearly looked like the best Giants wide receiver out there. You look at the rest of the receiving corps. Who's there? Darius Slayton, who's been buried under Richie James. And
why they hate my boy Darius?
Rashard Holmes.
I don't get it.
Sterling Shepard just tore his Achilles. Kadarius Toney
ACL.
just pulled his other hammy, and they say he's not close to coming
What's
back.
his name making all the money is injured?
Kenny Galladay.
Yeah, Kenny Galladay.
Yeah.
Kenny Galladay is a corpse of Dwayne Bowe. He is not coming back this year. They're not going to play him. I think Wan'Dale Robinson could legitimately be a league winner
Is he Victor Cruz number 2?
Stop it right now.
No, he's Odell number 2.
Here's
so
the
he's-
only. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Dude, I think we're gonna say the same thing. He's a little
I was
bit
just gonna say
small.
the Giants cameraman had to get some new instruction. They're like, "Hey, don't pan up so far. Like you're gonna
We
miss the
need you to get
play."
lower.
That
Yeah.
is the worry. Like
He's
5'8",
the Kyler
180.
Murray of wide receiver.
5'8", 180 is.
He's tiny.
Yeah, well,
And
you know
180
who else is
180
that
could be
size?
fine.
Tyreek Hill.
Is
That's
he
Tyreek Hill
5'8"?
size. Tyreek is listed as he is grown an inch every year, and it's bullshit. If you look, I think it's his college
He's
or
190,
combine.
5'10".
It's gone up. It's gone up, dude. I'm
What about a
telling
low
you.
grade? You know
if
what? I'm
I
planning to grow some more. So what's the problem?
Yeah, give me some wiggle room here.
Yeah.
I'll put some toilet paper in my shoes. I had something to say about Wan'dale. Oh, there was a tweet that I saw in the off season because I wasn't a real big Wan'dale fan, and I didn't know what to expect out of Tony, so I wasn't like all in on Tony either. But they were like, they drafted Wan'dale to replace Tony. He is a very similar playmaker in the sense of how explosive and how elusive, quick, how he gets open. And I was like, whoa, maybe I need to get in on this trade. He's just small.
I saw the same thing you're talking about, and I at the time didn't want to believe it because I had all of my Tony shares in my arms, and I didn't want to.
And you were just hugging.
Yeah, I didn't want to look like a bag holder. But my God, it's like the dude looks for any reason not to play football. And I honestly am kind of the opinion that he's just going to go the way of Kenny Galladay.
Which makes no sense because he didn't get paid. I mean, he got paid.
No.
He's making $3
But
million or something.
Yeah, but he cares more about his rap career. Like, I know we make, like, there are a lot of NFL, NBA players that, like, make rap albums and stuff. But, like, Kadarius Toney legitimately thinks he's a rapper. And he's released a couple albums, and I think he would rather do that than play football. But then again, I am just some random person that's talking about guys making millions of dollars sitting at my computer. I just can't figure it out. Maybe he is just hurt all the time, and it's sad.
It could be, but like obviously, if he was actually just hurt. So to your argument, if he was actually just hurt, would the Giants really want to get rid of him? Like, would they just give up on somebody that explosive who's dealing with some injuries? Obviously, there's something back there that's happening.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some either head coach issues, like they don't get along, front office. I don't know what it is, but there's definitely something that is the issue.
And a piece of that you kind of mentioned it lightly there, like we're talking a new regime here. You know, like it could very well be that Brian Daboll is going to decide his receivers.
But my dude was, I mean, it was the same way last year, I feel like also.
This guy looks like an NFL player.
This is Kadarius
I'm
Toney. This is young Joka.
This is young Joka.
It's just, it's frustrating, man. It's like, you just want to see him
are you
succeed
tearing
after
up?
that. What?
Are you tearing up?
I am. I'm kind of sad because, like, you really hate to see it. You want these guys to just be successful and to playoffs. We haven't seen it in many years now since Eli's retired. Tony was going to be that. He was going to be that flash. We saw it in a couple games, and it just hasn't happened again.
It was Josh Gordon extreme. I think Josh Gordon was a harder pill to swallow for us, but that's
because we're Browns fans.
Close to home, you know.
And we got a full season of him as well, which was different.
Well, okay, so let's stay on this team real quick because I think there's another one here that's really. Let me just say something real fast. There's two things that I think is going on in the NFL. The studs are getting older. The offensive line is getting worse. I sent an article to you guys talking about how the offensive linemen are not getting developed properly in college for the next level. And I think we're seeing some of that. And I don't know. I hope that we start getting some more talent there. But I also think like the skill positions are getting a little bit like we got some older guys. We haven't had outside of QB. We haven't had any big time players. And I think
we need running backs and tight ends.
I think there's yes, you're absolutely right. And that is the case, right? Like the wide receivers have been insane the past two drafts.
Yep.
there's been a huge gap from tight ends. Like, we can't find any young guys. The last one we've seen is TJ Hawkinson. And then before that was George Kittle, which both were drafted 4 or 5 years ago, I think, at this point. Definitely before we were doing the show. Shout out to the Fantasy Bye Week that you mentioned earlier, Cody.
There we go.
You don't know what show you're on. So anyways, after that long spiel, Daniel Bellinger is an interesting name to watch. He's looking good. I mean, he's a rookie. They don't have weapons, so it's an opportunity thing. Daniel Jones and Brian DeBall are really kind of starting to mesh, forming this offense that's easy for him and that he's capable of handling. These offensive weapons, and this goes for Dynasty as well, and I'm sure it's too late for either of these guys. These are guys that you might really want to consider rostering. Like, this could be a nice team for some time. Daniel Jones right now is going to get a contract. If the season ended today, he would get some sort of contract, whether it's franchise. I guess that's not a contract. Franchise tagged. He's going to be a Giant next year.
He'll be back
if the season ended. Yeah. So, and I think you want that. Like, they're not going to have a good enough pick to get a good rookie.
And they don't have any receivers.
Yeah, it's purely opportunity. I'm probably going to be the slightly Debbie Downer, and I like Daniel Bellinger, but I'm just talking rest of the season. Like, we wouldn't even be having this conversation if he hadn't caught a touchdown. And anytime that's the case, I'm like,
well,
Cody,
maybe.
I'm going to disagree with you there because
I know. I feel like I've mentioned him past 2 weeks.
But not with any substance. Like,
so we've
last
compared
3
him in
weeks.
the past with Dalton Schultz just because, he's going to get the opportunity. And you see through the year, week 1, 48%, 58%, 60, 60, 74, 94. Snap percentages are going up.
Yeah.
In turn, the targets are going up. Touchdowns are going up. Well, I don't want to say the touchdowns are going up, but
He had one.
I do think that you can kind of see it with Bellinger that they like this guy. I mean, obviously he's a rookie, so you're going to have your ups and downs. But, I see no issue. And, in fact, I would feel better about playing him over guys like, I don't know, the waiver wire guys. Honestly, even Gerald Everett, because I think Gerald Everett is getting close to, I don't want to say losing his job, but definitely losing work.
Here's let me just add a little bit on what I was saying on Bellinger. This is my only and I really do think the player's fine long term, just in terms of I'm looking at fantasy this year. I'm not talking Dynasty. I'm just talking, hey, I'm trying to solve my QB problem right now for this year. Am I not talking?
Can you repeat from
No, we got it.
Sure.
Oh, okay. I missed it because you lagged.
Okay. Yeah, and this is just I like him for Dynasty, and I don't dislike the player. I don't dislike the opportunity. It's just he's a guy had a rushing TD in week 5, I think it was. And last week was his good week. It's 5 for 38. Now he did get a touchdown, but it's 5 for 38.
38 or 58? I can't see.
38.
38.
Okay.
And so outside of a rushing TD, it's just okay, I don't think it's been, for the most part, a startable player. And so I'm not ready to put him in that starting category. Not saying he can't get there, but to me, this is just a roster guy right now.
Yeah,
me.
but I think the part that you're not mentioning, I guess, is we have to expect this offense to kind of slowly be turning the page here, right? We got Wan'dale who's back.
Offense has been okay, though. Do you really think it's going to get that much more explosive? This offense hasn't been bad.
I do. I have to think that it's going to get a little bit more explosive. You got Wan'dale coming back. Daniel Jones is starting to play really well. So you're having more weapons and more availability, hopefully moving the ball a little bit more. It has to turn a little bit. I'm not saying Wan'Dale is the absolute truth, but when you're playing with Richie James and David Sills,
don't do Richie like that.
I told you guys, right? Richie was the most jag ever. But anyways, the offense has to get better from that.
And also,
right?
Cody, you keep bringing up we wouldn't be talking about him if he didn't have a touchdown, but isn't it encouraging that they're running designed little shovel pass run plays for him at the goal line? This is what they did with Evan Ingram as well, except Evan Ingram sucked.
That's fair. I mean, it's just the game with the rushing TD. He had 2 catches for 22 yards. It's I'm scared to start that if I got to bank on what qualifies as a rushing touchdown. I'm scared to make that commitment when you're telling me the guy had 2 catches. That's a brave thing to
Kyle
do to me.
made his whole career on just catching touchdowns.
Yeah, but not on 2 receptions.
Mudcat, would it change if he comes out next week, has 85 plus snap percentage again,
Which that
and
part is absolutely great.
another 5 targets? Does your tune change
5 targets?
slightly? Yeah, I mean, I don't expect him to get much more than 5 targets. We haven't
Yeah, we're
really been
talking
seeing
Again,
tight
like
end.
you guys
last night.
pitching this as a guy that should be start. Like, is he a top 12 tight end at this moment for you? Because I don't think he's
this
quite there
yes.
for me.
If I
I
have
guess
one of
that's
the
my
bottom
stance.
ends, yeah, like
Okay.
what? Let's talk about this. Actually, let's go
Yeah.
through it.
Do you want me to get it pulled up?
I'm pulling it now, but you could
And
if you want to.
it sounds like I hate Daniel Bellinger, and I just think there's no
It
way.
sure
That's not
does
true at
sound
all.
like that, Cody.
No,
okay,
I
so
just
all right.
I just don't think this guy's a start yet.
let's skip
Kelsey,
Kelsey.
Mandrews, Higbee, Godare, Kittle, Ertz.
Your list is off.
It is because this is going off of our league with our tight end premium.
Yeah, I got it.
Right,
So it
you
goes
get it.
Kelsey Andrews. Well, then you got Ertz. You're starting Ertz over him. Godure. You're starting Godure. Hawkinson. You probably are starting him over, but he had 4 targets in week 3 and in week 5.
Okay, how many's he got on the season?
Don't worry about that.
I mean,
14, 26.
you're pushing it already.
34.
34. Okay.
I
I love TJ Hawkinson, so I'm not taking Taysom Hill. Is tight end 6 right now? You go Daniel Bellinger over Taysom Hill, right?
It depends if he's starting a quarterback.
I don't think he is, unfortunately. That would have been great to play against Brian, though.
Yeah. I'm taking Njoku. I'm taking Tanyan. Sorry,
it goes
derailing this.
Njoku and then Higbee.
Yep.
You taking Higbee?
Yeah.
Gerald Everett?
For now, but I think there's opportunity for that to change.
Robert Tonyan, you said you're taking, which
Yep.
I agree with that one
Are we
as well
10?
because they're both kind of on the
Or
up.
9.
We're at 10. Hayden
10.
Hurst.
Yeah, I'm still taking Hurst for the moment.
I think the opportunities maybe, but Hurst is very much in line with exactly what we've been saying, though. Dude has 24 yards, 7, 27, 53, 21. It's very much the same, except he's contending with Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and
Well,
Jamar
but in
Chase,
offense, it's going to throw twice as many touchdowns this year.
and probably twice as much. But yes,
Yeah.
Mike Gesicki, you got to go.
Nope.
I would go Daniel
No, I'll take
Bellinger there.
over Gesicki.
Gesicki has been such a disappointment outside of last week.
So that's
He's been
12, but
terrible.
who else is below there? Because I mean,
Fryermuth, you're probably taking Fryermuth over him.
Yep. So he's
Are
already out of
you?
my top.
You're
12.
taking Fryermuth over him?
He loves
Fryermuth.
Fryermuth.
I'm
He
not.
loves
No. This has nothing to do with. Okay, this is getting out of hand now.
No, Fryermuth. Yeah, I agree. He's getting targets like crazy.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Steelers
10,
are bad.
7, 4, 9. He's getting a ton.
Daniel
of targets.
Bellinger doesn't know what 10 targets looks like in 4 games combined.
Whoa,
That's a lie.
No, it might be true.
it's a little.
First
off.
4 games, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Wait,
oh, no,
I
he
thought
had
we were
10.
last 4.
He had 10 in the first 4 games. He has 15 on the year, right? Or 17 on the year.
What's the last
17,
4?
Cody.
Last 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11. He has 16.
In the last 4?
Yeah.
Monster, dude.
He's outside of my top 12 still, guys. I mean, I feel good in what I said initially. I feel like we landed.
I think he's over
he's
Hayden
there.
Hurst. So I think he's 12 for me.
Who
All right,
else you got
boys,
below
we
there?
have
Anyone else?
speculated way too long on Daniel Bellinger.
That's fine.
Mario, you are the
Darren
last one
Waller.
to pick a guy.
All right.
Yeah, I'll take Darren Waller too.
Wait, yeah, go pick somebody, Brian.
You pick. I just picked Wan'dale.
Wait, this is our last one.
Not the last one. Don't do the last one. I know why you want to do it. Don't do it.
No, we've talked about Greg Dulcich enough. Let's talk about the Washington RB situation. I think that's a good situation to talk about. It's not going to be enjoyable for any of us.
No, it's not.
We're not going to like this combo at all. What do you do?
It's Brian Robinson. It's Brian Robinson.
It's Brian Robinson.
And you can drop everyone else.
And you're hoping Antonio Gibson gets traded.
Yeah, it's not even a key. Like Antonio Gibson. I mean, let's do that. Is Antonio Gibson droppable? I know it
No.
sounds crazy. No,
I don't
not.
think he can be.
Okay,
I don't know.
but is that just based on investment?
You have to see more than just one
Who's-
week.
You're right.
Antonio-
You're right. I overreacted. You're right.
Brian was loving Antonio Gibson. He's like, what everybody letting him go to 8th round.
He's a running back 11.
They ain't gonna let
He was running
anybody
back
take
12
this
last
job.
year. And he's
And
running back.
I don't-
He's running back 19 in PPR
And
right now.
I don't know what he did to the coaches' wives,
I don't either.
but he did something.
That's why I just want him to go to a different team so bad. Send him to the Rams. Send him anywhere. Send him to the Bears, the Jets, any team.
Let me ask you this. So we've talked before, like in theory of him being traded. Let's do that because I think that's a possibility. I think it's unlikely, but it's a possibility. You know, obviously he had a good fantasy season last year and he had a fine start to this year, but it's always been just work. This year, I don't know what's last year. Sorry,
No,
but it's always just been
again.
through
So
quantity
me and
of
Brian
work.
just like
Okay. It's always just been through quantity of work, really. It's never been based on productivity. Do you think he can go somewhere and be a thing?
Yeah,
I think he is so underutilized as like this is one of those situations that gets talked about a lot when there's like, oh, why aren't you fitting your play to your player? Antonio Gibson is a prime example of that. He is a guy that was a wide receiver coming out of college. He's fast. He's shifty. Like he gets how they're using Brian Robinson, which is how he should be, like how Brian Robinson should be used. He's a bruiser, runs up the middle, like he's gonna kind of run through guys. Is how they use Antonio Gibson, and that's not his game, man. Like get him to sweep into the outside. Get him the ball in his hands in the backfield, whether that's throwing or like a toss. It doesn't make any sense the way that they've ever used him because they even capped him with J.D. McKissick. So it's really
they just keep re-signing J.D. McKissick over and over.
And he was gone, and they were like, "Nope,
Yep,
get back here."
Oh yeah, he was like signing with the Bills. It was happening, and then all of a sudden, like, he's back. Okay.
Dude, it's so frustrating. But like Cody said, Sleeper apparently agrees with Cody and says, as of now, he is a roster clogger and a possible drop candidate.
Roster clogger is a good phrase. I'm going to use that in the future.
The most concerning thing is 26% of snaps. Like that is the most concerning thing.
And that was late, Brian.
JD McKissick, yeah, I know. And their offense actually looks decent when he came on the field. JD McKissick had 30% snap share, so that leaves what, around 46, something like that for 54.
I actually thought it was more than that for Brian Robinson.
It could be where they shared. Let me check real quick.
No. I don't. That wasn't questioning what you said. I'm just surprised. That's all. It was more just a comment, not.
Yeah, 47%.
Yeah. It felt like he was on the field more than that. Yeah.
So it kind of looks like it might just be a like huge, ugly, three-headed monster that maybe you don't want any part of it. I'm kind of buying in on Brian Robinson for the cheap skis. Like I just traded Mario. Who'd I trade you for him?
Christian Kirk. I don't feel like that's that cheap. I feel like
but that's a team that I have like 5 or 6 receivers that are all in that range.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so that's why I traded for him. Antonio Gibson's a name I'm trying to trade for in Dynasty. And I think a 3rd-round pick is fair, but I can't get the owner to agree that that's a fair price.
He's one of those guys. It's funny you say that because like I'm like, 3rd round, like I might as well keep Antonio Gibson. But if I don't have Antonio Gibson, I'm not giving a second for him. Like the price is, it's somewhere right there.
I refuse to give a second.
He might be an easier player trade. Like you guys should probably explore your roster and see like if there's a guy that would fit that better that you're willing to part ways with.
But it's not going to be sexy.
So
if you're an Antonio Gibson, you're not taking a 3rd for him.
The one guy
you're just hoping for the best.
One guy I got him to budge with was I offered Hunter Renfrow for him, and
that's pretty big.
I think he was going to take him, and then I was like, yeah, but Hunter Renfrow last year he did this and this and this, and he's been hurt this year. And then I talked myself out of it and I pulled the trade. It sat out there for over 24 hours too.
I'd take the Renfrow side, but I don't think that's I think with Devontae Adams, Renfro's not the old Renfrow. That's just, he could still be something, but to think last year's in the realm of possibilities going forward wouldn't be.
I agree. But Renfrow is also 26, so they're both young guys. Probably long futures ahead of them. I really don't think this is the end of Antonio Gibson. I think he will catch on somewhere else.
It really just depends, Brian.
I mean, of course it just depends.
right?
I don't know that he gets signed for a starting job right at like I don't know that a team signs him and says this is our guy.
No, I agree with that 100%. I don't think a team would either. But like, I'm trying to think of a team he would be good with. Probably the Patriots, probably the Rams, obviously.
See, I feel like he's Daryl Henderson-esque, so I don't think that would make sense for the Rams.
Might be a good Dolphin. Because the Dolphins
Be an interesting Dolphin.
I don't hate that, yeah.
I mean, the Dolphins already have their entire offense is just basically short throws that go for 80 yards.
Don't even change colors. I want to see what he does on the Arizona Cardinals because James Conner is just not good.
True.
That would be a great fit, I think.
There's not a shortage of teams he could go to. And I know Cody has ripped on him all his career for his low yards per carry. But, like, whenever I watch him, I still think the dude looks like he's got some juice.
Like, this is crowded here, but if it wasn't, San Francisco would be so nice.
Gosh.
It would be so
Here's
nice.
the hard part about San Fran. It's perpetually crowded with sort of nobodies, but it doesn't matter. They turn them into somebody.
Yeah, exactly. That means Antonio Gibson would be a superstar in this.
You know who's gonna be a dark horse that like Mario would hate is if he went to the Buccaneers and played like a James White role for Tom Brady.
That would
the hard part is I don't even know if he like Lenny's such a they're all receiving backs there. That's the struggle.
Dude, outside of like this year and last year, Lenny has always gotten hurt with some kind of soft tissue.
What about Kansas City?
No, I'm done with running backs on Kansas City. No running back fits there.
It's too split now. I don't hate the idea, but the backfield's too split now.
Yeah, it's pretty crowded right now. But
Yeah.
I think McKinnon's not 1 year. Clyde's got to be coming up on his.
Yeah, he wasn't a first. Was Clyde a first? No, he's a first rounder. He's got another year.
Okay, because you get 4.
Yep. And then a 5th-year option,
Yeah.
which I would doubt they pick up at this point.
And like go back, and I know we're out of time here, but I just want to kind of talk about one more thing. We talked a lot about Antonio Gibson, but back to Brian Robinson. So Brian mentioned we made that trade. My thought is, and my concern with Brian Robinson is he is primarily going to be the back that he's probably going to be the goal line back, which is what you want, but also it might be it. Like the way that they're saying that how they're going to use Antonio Gibson moving forward, don't know if this is coach speak or true, is that they want to get him more snaps. So that means, are we going to see Antonio Gibson in between the 20s on first and second? Then we got Jay on the third, and then Brian Robinson within the 20s. Like, is that the setup that we're looking at? Because it seems like that's what they're going for here.
Dude, if that were the case, though, wouldn't they just get rid of McKissick and just give those snaps to Antonio
I
Gibson?
wish, dude.
They don't think he can catch, apparently. Like, they've made that clear. I don't know why, but they don't think he can catch.
It's so crazy. The 72-yard from last year, I'll never forget watching him do that to the Giants. He had like a 72-yard touchdown passing catch.
So the whole getting him more snaps, it's like clearly that's just not true because, I mean, his snaps have gone down every game this year, and they've been talking about putting him on special teams and stuff. Like, it's a lie. Ron Rivera hates him.
He was on kickoff that night last Thursday.
It's
And
crazy.
even if they like, it's exactly true. But even if they get him more snaps, and we've talked about this kind of ad nauseum. I know it's something I always bring up, but it's like where are the touches. So McKissick, we know, is getting the receiving, and if Brian Robinson really is the goal line back,
that's what they're making Antonio it sound like.
Gibson's touches are worthless. Those Bunny's touches are just worthless.
If you see us pop up forward, it's because you froze.
Yeah. I'm catching on. An hour in, I figured that out now.
Yeah, and one last thing, I just want to, say sorry to Kyler Murray that we're not going to get to you today because I put you in the title, but maybe next time.
Right now.
Oh shit!
You kind of boo-boo right now. That's all I'll say.
It's not been great. Right New COD comes out soon though.
And
I will.
Brown. So
I'll change the title. So we're talking Wan'dale. We talked. Okay, we'll get it. Where's that outro, Brian?
You want me to hit it?
Hit it.
That's not how it sounds at all.
Can we change our outro? Boys, we got to start working on our season 2 intro. Start
changing it.
That's what
we still have a copyright infringement on the
Copyright infringement. Yeah, we're still getting the notice from YouTube. But we need to think of season 2, boys. It's what we're known for most. Am I cutting out?
No, you're good.
No,
Okay.
you never cut out. You prevent.
You cut out there. That was you this time.
That's my internet.
It's an outro, I swear. If you're not already following us at
What'd you say?
Twitter at DadBodFS. Oh, I'm too late on the outro. You can check us
Why
out on
can't I do
YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, DadBod Fantasy Squad. We'll be posting all the episodes to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. What else, Cody?
I don't know.
All the major streaming platforms. For myself, for Mudcat, for Brian. Peace.